first time I've used Zoom. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
So I'm happy to be here with you tonight. I've been a teacher for a long time, since 1986, actually. And recently I'm doing a little transitioning into college and career counseling for students in the schools. Hey.
Hi.
And so Kristen asked me to talk about, in this time of coronavirus, what can families be doing to make sure that their students are keeping up with whatever is needed for the college application process. So I don't know how many people here are interested in that topic, because I actually made a little slide presentation.
Really? Are you able to share it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think so, Lois. I am recording this, so it's not just the few that are on this meeting. Some other people who are interested that could make it. Are you okay with that, or do you need me to stop recording? Okay. Because I could always edit if you needed me.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah, that's
so
great. You should be able to share your screen.
I have a high school student that I have to leave in about 10 minutes, and I would love to hear what you have to say.
And we had another high school parent that had to leave the call earlier too. So
okay, and so what I'm talking about right now is applicable maybe for middle school and high school. If you have an elementary school student, what I would recommend for preparing for college is making sure that your child is reading at or above grade level, is at or above grade level in math, and goes to science summer camps such as YSI, just to make sure that they're staying on level.
You know, I didn't look at the Youth Science Institute camps this summer to check on them. I know
we don't have them, but under normal
I would imagine they join the remote options.
I don't know. All right, so I think Kurt has my little presentation slides here.
Awesome. Thanks, Kurt, for being tech support.
You're welcome. Hello.
Hello. She should be able to share it. Let me know if I need to change anything at my end.
It says that you disabled screen sharing. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay. How do I share computer sound, optimize screen
We're
sharing?
all learning.
We are.
So Jessica, tell me how old your kids are.
Screen.
Is Jessica Painter still there? No?
No.
How old are your kids?
Sorry,
Jessica?
my microphone was off because there's background noise, but my kids are 2nd grade and 1st grade.
Nice.
Oh, you're getting a recital there. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to go now. Yay, there we go.
How about you, Sandra? How old are your children?
I have a rising 10th grader.
Nice. So, is that a boy or a girl?
A boy.
Okay. And does he have certain interests that he's already thinking about, or is he kind of leaving everything open?
Oh, he wants to be a paleontologist. Has since he's been 4 1/2. And
oh, how wonderful. And what about you, Leanne?
I have a granddaughter that is in 1st grade, but I actually work for the schools.
Oh, okay. All right.
Look at this awesomeness.
Can you see my presentation?
I can.
Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Presenter view.
There we go. Perfect.
All right. Okay, so all right, so summer college app enhancement during coronavirus. So there are still oh wow.
Okay.
All right, so 5 things you can do this summer to enhance your college experience: career and major exploration, college research, college courses, essay preparation, and SAT prep. If there's anybody who's going to be stepping away, I would say that the most important thing it would be the college courses.
Mhm.
So if you're stepping away before I get to college courses, then I hope you'll go back later and take a look at that.
So is SAT prep really something to worry about if they're taking SATs and ACT off if the College Board is no longer using those test scores?
Are they using them next year? It's done? They're not going to have that business anymore?
No. Well, so no and yes. So they're eliminating ACT and SAT, but they're going to develop their own test. So
Developing their own test. Who's they?
the College Board, which is, if you ask me again, is that not the SAT and ACT? So
okay. So I guess I'm out of the loop on that particular thing. Just to let you all know, Kristen already knows this. In the last month, I was told my cancer has metastasized. So that's kind of taking my time and effort, and I haven't really stayed up on the news in this subject perhaps the way I should have.
This just came out like Thursday, Friday last week.
Oh, well, then
very new news.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for the info. I'll make sure that I pursue that. But it doesn't hurt to go, I mean, the reason, well, can we go through it step by step, and then I'll address SAT prep when we get there. Is that right?
Sorry, yes.
Okay. All right, so first thing is career and major exploration. So the two websites that I recommend for exploring careers are, this is a career interest test. It's by the US government, and the results of it are keyed to people who are happy in their job. Thousands and thousands of people were interviewed, and then you answer 60 questions. Make sure your student answers all the questions. Don't choose I don't know, which is the middle one. Make sure they make a decision on every question, and then it'll suggest jobs that other people who have your same interests are happy in.
Okay.
And what I like about this one is that they're videos for the kids to watch. There's a little video for every job that they look at. There's a video for most of them up on the top left of the screen. So if it was my kid, I would say, you know, explore one career per day. It would take them 10 minutes of time that they might be spending on YouTube instead at bedtime. And then I like this Truity test too. And you take both of them just to see if the results are the same in both. If they're not, I feel like the Truity results are more accurate, for me at least.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about this? I'm trying to go fast.
By saying which one you preferred if you had to choose one over the other, but.
No, I don't choose one over the other, because the Truity one takes just a few minutes. This can be done in 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh.
So this one is just, which picture do you like best? Okay, click on it. Which picture do you like best? Click on it. And you do that for 30 times.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so I would, and this, I think 6th, 7th, and 8th graders can already be doing this.
Okay. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Then I think that they should take notes on it. What career name did they read through? Does it have a bright future? Will there be jobs when you graduate? What job zone is it? That's education. What's the mid-career salary, and are you interested in it? Yes or no. If they just do one per day, they could get a lot done in even just a month.
Okay. It's definitely a nice way to help them focus on what they want to then look for in colleges.
And I have had I've worked with students through my college and career counseling certificate through UCLA, and I forced them to do this for 30 jobs. And, you know, even the ones that say, no, I know exactly what I want to do, they inevitably come back and say, you know what, I've been thinking, and maybe I am a little more social than I thought. Maybe I do need a little more personal interaction. Maybe medicine would be better for me rather than just straight physics, you know? Cool. All right, so next, is explore majors. And the way I suggest that students do this is by actually looking at the classes you would take if you went to the school. And this is true even at a community college. So let's look at nursing at Case Western versus nursing at St. Olaf. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. They're both direct entry nursing programs. My younger daughter happened to get into both of them, which is why I know these programs pretty well. So here's the plan of study. Can you see this?
Yes.
So what you want to do when you're having your child look at majors is have them look at the classes they would take. Do you want to take these classes? If so, great. If not, look at a different major.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that my daughter noticed is that when she looked at the Case Western plan here in Ohio, she discovered that she could take one class of her choice in her entire 4 years of college. And she felt like that wasn't college. She felt like that was job prep. She said she felt like she wanted a real college experience. All right, so, oh, that was not good. All right, so here's St. Olaf where she decided to go in the end. And she could see, okay, this is what I'm going to be studying at St. Olaf. These are the spaces that I would have to study other things. So just to have your child actually look at what classes would you take. And sometimes there are 5 different business management majors offered at a school. Look at the classes for each business management major, and it should become pretty clear to your kid, oh, this is what I'm interested in. So that's my advice for choosing a major. Anybody have any comments or questions about this?
No, that's great. I don't have any questions. Anybody else have a question?
I'm doing my wait time. I'm doing my 10-second wait time.
I'm seeing applause and thumbs up, so I think we're doing good.
All right. Okay, so I find that the more effort a student puts into this, the more happy they are with their eventual choice. So often it's the parents who are really interested in the college process and they're dragging the kids along. It's really the kid that needs to make college research the hobby. The FISC guide here is very inexpensive. And one way you can access this for your students who are sports fans, have them just read about the colleges, about the teams they like. Have them read through one a day. Colleges that change lives, these are 40 schools that are easier to get into than some others, but provide a really fabulous education. My daughters happen to both be at one of these schools. And then College Match helps your kid see what school is going to match him or her better. What kind of academic life? A competitive environment or less competitive? A large school or a small school? Relationships with professors, or you're a face in the crowd? So this is very, very important. The investment is not that high. This one has a lot of worksheets, so you have to buy it. This one is cheap, very inexpensive. And this one you could just check out from the library or on your Libby app. All right, I think all 3 of these are extremely important. Comments, questions?
Well, when you first meet with a student and you're just trying to get a grasp of about where they are at, do you often go to that? You know, who are you as a person? Are you competitive? Are you not competitive? You know, what do you?
I do an hour-long interview with the student, and I also do an hour-long interview with the parents. And then I take the information that the student has done in the College Match book, and then I write up a profile of the student based on all the interviews and the College Match.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. So this is the one that I said was so important, and this is take community college summer school, because other opportunities such as volunteering, a lot of working, going to various camps that people might have gone to in other years. They're just not going to be available this summer, but community college summer school will be available. And there are two reasons that you want to do this. First of all, you show you can succeed in college. AP classes are great, but you don't get the college credit unless you pass the end of the year exam with a certain score. If you take a community college class, there is no AP exam. You just take the class, and the grade you get in it, you show that's what I can do with a college class. Also, schools want to see a consistent interest in your major. So for example, my daughter Catherine was able to get into direct entry nursing at St. Olaf. Only 12 students were accepted from the whole country.
Wow.
And how did that happen? She had joined the Medical Explorers. She had gone to a medical camp at Georgetown. She had worked with cadavers and learned how to do surgery stitching. And because she had shown interest in the major, she was selected. So if your kid is interested in coding or computer science, have them take a coding class. If your kid likes art history, have them take an art history class. It shouldn't be the parent saying, now you take this. It should be something the kid's interested in and might like to do for a major. And then there should be some success in the class, and also showing that extra interest that the child wanted to pursue beyond just the regular school day. And other options just aren't available for showing that extra interest. So I think it's really important this summer. So who can do it at California community colleges? 10th, 11th, and 12th graders are automatically eligible. It's free if you're a high schooler. I think you still have to buy your materials, but there's no tuition. And usually you need a counselor signature. I'm not sure what it looks like right now. So that might be a little tougher to get than normal. But you need to apply on the website of the community college, and then just go ahead and follow step by step. Usually the high schoolers have the last choice of registration. So Evergreen in San Jose City, their summer school is going to run June 19th to July 27th. And Mission West Valley is going to run June 8th through July 31st, but they have different ones ending at different times. Notice that De Anza and Foothill is not here. This is because De Anza Foothill is on the quarter system. They start very late in the summer, and their school year interferes with the beginning of our Valley high schools. So although those are very popular programs and they have an amazing selection, they aren't really available to our high schoolers. Questions, comments, concerns?
I just wanted to comment that anytime I've reached out to the high school counselor for my son, they've been pretty quick at responding. So I think if you need a signature, they could do send a virtual note or whatever you needed to attach to your application. And
there's a form it's an actual paper form that the counselor has to fill out and sign. It has to be submitted in paper. The application can be done without the counselor's signature.
Can I ask, how important do you think or useful are the personality tests?
The ones from the first page, the one about the careers?
Related to those, because there are some, I forget what they're called, they've been established a long time for jobs.
Oh, the 16 personalities, that kind.
Mm-hmm.
I think any extra information a child has that can give them some insights into themselves, I think is very important. The two that I'm recommending are the 6 they're based on the 6 Holland codes, realistic, social, et cetera, et cetera. There are also other things to look at. The ONET website has a job values test that you could do. So the more information a student knows about themselves, the better, in my opinion. I just recommend these two because I find them, I've worked with many classes with them from 5th grade up through seniors, and I just find these two websites work really well with students.
Thank you.
Lois, if your child is not at a district school, so doesn't have a district school counselor, do you know if they're still able to access the community college summer school classes?
I think so, because even homeschoolers can do it.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to check with them. And students younger than 10th grade can also attend, but I think the process is a little different for them. And not all of them will be allowed to. But if you have a 12-year-old who really wants to take a beginning psychology, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, or paleontology.
I was thinking
yes,
like some science, something like that. Yeah,
that your child who wants to be a paleontologist absolutely could be already starting archaeology classes, and it doesn't have to be at our local community college. I believe that a California student can register pretty much at any community college. It's not
so the free agreement isn't limited to location. If everyone's remote learning, they might as well.
I don't think so. I think it's any college in the state. I could be wrong. I'm not a complete expert on it, but here we go. So if you have an archaeology class in Long Beach that fits your kid better than Evergreen City, Mission, or West Valley, you can try to have them do remote learning there also.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt to try.
yeah, thank you.
That was a good question. All right, the next thing is to prepare for the essay writing. This is an excellent, excellent, excellent book, and it's a real eye-opener for the parents. It gives you, you and your child a view into what the life of a app reader is. The admissions counselor, what is their life like? They're working a full-time job and they have to do 40 files a day, which means they have about 5 minutes with your kid's file. And a lot of times they get to the end of their work day, they haven't been able to address a single file. They get home, they have a beer, they sit down with the stack of 40 and they've got to get it done before they go to bed. And so they read through 39 of them and they have another beer, and your child is number 40. How do you make that essay pop? So I really like this. I really like this book a lot. So read the book, do what it says. Make a list of the essay topics of all the colleges where you plan to apply, so you can start thinking about them and sort of also combining them. So you can see, oh, look, these 5 topics are sort of similar. So if I write about this, I can tweak that and make it work for all 5 of these essays. Yeah. And then have written outlines or drafts for all the essays by the first day of senior year. Think about them, have something written down for every essay by the first day of senior year. And by the first day of senior year, you should have your apply list done also. You should know what schools you're applying to. What year is Ken gonna be? You're muted.
I muted myself. Sorry, he's going to be a senior this coming year.
Okay.
But he's worked well with a local tutor at Links to Learning, and she's going to work with him on a few essays to just, because he likes to put a lot of ideas in, and it's overwhelming sometimes to read what he's written, and I need that teased out a little bit.
Has to be entertaining. Make sure he tells a story.
Well, he has to tell a story to someone outside of his brain.
Wow, sort of like all of us. All right. And then the last thing, register and prep for SAT and ACT. You're saying that as of last week, this is no longer valid. I'm just going to go through what I know in case. UC won't look at ACT. They will super score, which means they'll take your best math score from this SAT test and your best English score from this one, and they'll put them together. But they won't even look at a math score unless the test is taken with writing. Same thing for ACT. So if you're planning to apply to the UCs, all exams have to be taken with writing. And even if there are changes in the SAT and ACT, you can still have your child go into the Khan Academy website through the College Board. You'll go through their PSAT score and then do a curated plan of study based on the date of the test that's coming up, and it'll go over exactly what the child missed on the PSAT. So even if the tests are going to change, your child's knowledge, I guess they will change at the beginning of the school year, but really seniors should not be taking this test any later than about September or October. So it'll still help them fill in the gaps of anything that they missed on the SAT. And you can see the other things I wrote. Full-length online practice exams, learn how to write the SAT essay, and prepare for the ACT science exam, which is basically just graphs. It's not science.
And I think you make a good point with the writing, because the AP exams this year were only the written open questions and not the multiple choice anymore. And I think that talks to where the College Board is going with how they are evaluating students more and looking at how their written expression is.
I swear that the SAT essays are graded by a computer because they're looking for certain things. Huh. And it's a very specialized essay style. You have to learn it. Mm. It's very, very, very specialized. So make sure that your child figures out how to write the SAT essay and practice it. It's not the regular essay structure
that we grew up with, the one that made sense.
The one that we all learned in 8th grade or whatever it was. All right. And lastly, the more effort you put in, the better college fit you will have and the happier you will be.
Well, thank you so much, because I think this is certainly in the minds of everyone that has middle school and high school, and especially with all the regression that has happened, or, the loss of class time that they've all had. So the focal points will, if they can't get their kids to do more math and writing, this is a way to squeeze it in a way that, hey, but you need this to to help for the next phase of education.
Yeah. Where did I have here what was I thinking? Oh, I can't remember what I was going to say. Sorry.
It's okay.
Could I ask a question? And thank you for this wonderful presentation. It's super helpful.
Yes.
Thank you, Kristen, for asking Lois to come.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky Lois was able to make herself available. I was kind of asking her at short notice. So.
Awesome. That's okay. I threw my little presentation together today.
Thank you.
Well, it's way more helpful than anything I've seen in the past 3 years personally. So
really?
Yeah. And I have a middle schooler, so I don't know. Kristen probably has seen a lot more than I, but I have a question, because what I had heard was that portfolios and your online profile would be really important. What do you think about all that?
For college applications?
Right. Creating
It depends on the major. What kind of, in some cases, what kind of portfolio are you thinking about?
I have no idea, because so far I think our son is probably interested in law school or something. That's the closest I could get.
Oh.
so obviously, I think in England, they go straight into law school, but obviously here it's grad school, and he would have to think about, you know, rhetoric or philosophy, or even something like engineering, and then go into a very specialized law field. Where portfolio comes in is in the arts.
Right.
So theater, dance, obviously writing, and then art. The portfolio review is, and music. So auditions and portfolio reviews are important in those. I haven't seen them be so important in other areas.
Oh, great.
There is something now that many colleges are allowing students to attach. I think it's, I want to say it's Zoom Me, but I think that's wrong. But they allow you to attach a link in your at the end of your application. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Mm-hmm. Or some of them even say, oh, attach your Zoom Me link, whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. And so that has all sorts of things that they can put in, photos of their volunteer work and samples of their dancing, and you know, copies of their short stories. So that one gives the reviewers a different picture of the student. In my opinion, the college application should show your student like a cube, right? Every part of the application should show a different facet of your kid. Mm-hmm. So the clubs that they're taking, that they are in, they already say that in the club section. So and the volunteer work they've done, it already shows that. So what other facet of yourself can you show with the essays? I think it's very important to reveal as much of yourself as possible in the application. So online presence, I do know that many colleges are checking that. So your kid does need to be very careful, very, very, very careful. Yeah, I've actually heard of acceptances being rescinded because of stuff that happened online, and from major colleges. So that definitely needs to be a concern for you, for your kids, and for you as parents.
Sure. What about creating a special project? I heard that was a really good way to make yourself stand out, whether it's for like creating a nonprofit or whatever. I don't think our son will be that ambitious, but that's a good way to make yourself stand out.
So let's just look at Stanford, for example. At my daughter's high school at Pioneer, in her senior year, there was a boy who was doing research with Stanford professors, had already been published in peer-reviewed journals with these professors, and he did not get into Stanford. He didn't make the cut. Stanford is looking for national, state, and world level championship in whatever that is. So if you're saying, you know, create a nonprofit, it has to be really big. Yeah, it has to be really big. But that's for some of the major universities. What year is your son again?
He's in 7th. He's going to go into 8th.
Okay, so one thing that you might want to consider is the Presidential Service Awards. Oh. Those are just for volunteer hours, and starting in the summer after 8th grade, he can start accumulating volunteer hours. And I think that first year, I think in that first year, you only need 100 to get a gold Presidential Service Award. After that, it increases. So my daughters both got a silver and a bronze for their hours. But and kitten fostering will rack up your hours faster than anything else I can think of. I'm doing my volunteer work at 2 a.m. in my kitchen. One litter, my daughter racked up 54 hours. But that's one way to really show, I think that that's very impressive, those Presidential Service Awards in the gold, silver, and bronze.
Great tip, thank you.
Well, I've heard, Lois, that you've helped a few kids discover that maybe the colleges and universities they first looked at were not the fit, and they're very happy now. So
where did you hear that?
I'm trying to remember the parent who said, "Oh, you know her?" Because she did a great thing. It was you redirected their child to more of a liberal arts setting that fit them better, like they were far more happier there than the parents feared they wouldn't be happy at all.
Oh, is that Dylan? Was that Dylan Mulvaney?
I don't know.
I do know that I'm a huge fan of the CSU Maritime, which is basically a small boutique college. Even though it's a state school, they have their own ship. If you're an engineering student in your senior year, you're going to go on a cruise on the ship.
That was it.
Visit like 6 different countries.
Wow.
And I did. One of my students did go, and he's ecstatic with his experience there.
Well, and then I think that's been a complete transformation for him as a person too, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he had hair down to halfway down his back, and he had to get a military haircut.
But he was like, it's worth it. You know what I mean? He bought in, right?
And he loves it. Loves it.
That's so great.
Yeah, so I think fit is the most important thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Certainly, you know, we only looked at one college so far with our senior before all this. We were looking at, during April break, we had planned to go see some more places, and that went out the door. So we'll have to do our virtual tours. But I felt like it's silly to do tours if you don't know what's going to be a fit to begin with. So.
Yeah, so these books then would be useful for Ken, and also Julian. If Julian could start thinking about it too, it doesn't hurt for the younger one to think about it.
When he's an incoming freshman, I know, to really rack up those volunteer hours. Maybe I'll drag him down to Martha's Kitchen with me.
Catherine, by the time she left for Germany in the summer before her senior year, and she had already done 30 college tours because she started in 8th grade with the older sister.
Wow.
So if there's anything I can do to help with Ken, just let me know.
Yeah, we might have you consult for sure.
But it has to be pretty soon, because once school has started, it'll be too late. I am of the submit all applications by Halloween school. I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. So it has to really be in track right now.
Well, I think for him that would be good too, because he's foolishly taking more than one AP class this last year. So he took 3 this year. It's just, I kind of wish we didn't have an AP system, to be honest.
And no matter how many APs our Willow Glen kids take or whatever, they just can't compete with somebody like Harker, where the kids have been taking APs since freshman year. Wow. I mean, Stanford's looking for a minimum of like 5 APs before senior year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's, yeah.
Okay.
But that's why the summer community college class is so good, because he would have a grade in that class before he submitted his application.
Right, right.
Whereas any AP class he takes this year, he's not going to have that credit till the end of the year. The college won't know how he's performed.
Well, I was surprised. I guess the principal had consulted with them before his schedule was mapped out, and he's been very clear that he wants to move on in chemistry in college, and she wasn't having him take calculus, and he's like, he wasn't on the fast track of math. He needs to have calculus to go into a science major, and I didn't know how she didn't know that. So.
Is he taking AB or BC? Yeah, AB or BC.
He's taking honor. Oh, are you talking about the track or?
They're two different calculus classes. One is like one semester of calculus, which is called AB, and one is 2 semesters of calculus, which is called BC.
I think he's taking AB.
Oh.
Okay. But if he took calculus,
if he wants to be a chem major, he should probably take BC. You know, he needs to have a certain look in his application.
Would BC be an AP class?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do they have a chemistry club at his school?
If they do, he's not been in it. Yeah, I see your eyes. I know what you mean.
A lot of times they've just got to do stuff to make themselves look a certain way.
Yeah.
If there's not one, starting one would look good.
Right.
I know somebody who got into both Berkeley and UCLA. He started a chem club at 2 different high schools where he attended.
Okay.
And got a nice letter of recommendation from the advisor.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Okay. That's good.
Where's he planning to go for chem?
He's only looked at his dad's alma mater. So he's looked at Ole Miss, Oxford, Mississippi.
Where is it?
Ole Miss, Oxford, Mississippi.
You're going to pay out of state for a state school?
It's less than most in-state, actually. It's not bad.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Is he going to apply to Berkeley?
I've asked him to. We visited the campus and someone was smoking on the campus, so he said no. Yeah.
Just since he is going to be a senior, he needs to make sure that he just apply to San Jose State no matter what.
Okay.
Make sure he applies to San Jose State.
Okay.
It's an easy application. You don't have to do anything basically except submit your GPA and your test scores.
Okay.
They don't care about your activities or anything. It's just a pure math calculation of an index, they call it. And if you meet a certain index, you'll get into your major. And a lot of kids, I mean, Cupertino High School, I think 40% was going to San Jose State, and a lot of them, that was the only school they got into. They applied to all these UCs and big name schools, and thank God they applied to San Jose State, or else they would be going to community college.
Jeez. Okay.
So make sure he applies. Make sure all his friends apply to San Jose State.
Okay.
Question. Because we have quirky kids, do you have any suggestions for good fits?
Now yours isn't the paleontologist, is it?
No, I think that was Sandra.
Remind me about your child.
He might be interested in going into law.
Oh yeah. So by quirky, my cousin says that about her daughter, and her daughter is autistic.
Yes.
So by quirky, what do you mean?
He has Aspergers, so he has that socially emotional challenge, and is very literal, very precise, very logical.
Well, first of all, I think your child needs to take some of those career tests, because I think attorney is pretty high in the social, isn't it? Isn't it one of the social categories, or is it artistic? It might be artistic. But I think he would benefit from taking some of those career tests.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, you ladies kind of know, you're more an expert on it than I am. My older daughter has a tiny touch of Asperger's, or autism, just a very, like on a scale of 1 to 10, she might be a 0.5. But I think a small school has been good for her. She has a lot of relationships with her professors. And I think that wouldn't have happened at a big school. So that's one consideration. That I think a kid with Asperger's might kind of get lost in a big school, and a small school might be a better fit in terms of giving opportunities for relationships with professors and other students, because they'd know everybody in their department, right? Mm-hmm. My daughter has a graduating class of like 325, and everybody in her major she knows very well, personally. Another thing that I think might be important for a student like that is that, and this is just like senior year, entering freshman stuff, but I got a Target debit card and would send my daughter snacks because it's free shipping. And then she would be able to say to people, oh, hey, come on over after class, let's study together for this test we have on Wednesday. Or, you know, or she'd be able to grab a box of Ho-Hos and walk down the hall and be able to say, hey, you know, see a group sitting around in the lounge and be able to go over and sit down and say, hey, anybody want some Ho-Hos? So it was nice for her to have those snacks on hand. I know that's kind of stupid, but it's just like kindergarten, right? Make friends with food. It still works. And then also,
as you said that, I was thinking everything I went to socially at college was around food. So.
Yep. And then the other thing that I messed up with Alexandra, my older one, and that I did right with my younger one is that I forced my younger one to join 3 clubs by the end of the first semester. She didn't have to necessarily join, but she had to go several times. Mm-hmm. So she went to, I think, a Christian one, which she didn't like, and Alexandra didn't like her Christian one on campus either. I guess Alexandra did intramurals too. Catherine went to the swim club, and then she only went twice, and then they recruited her from there to join the new water polo club, and she was a founder of that and a captain. And so she and these other kids started club water polo at St. Olaf, and now they have 25 people on their team. That's huge. Yeah. So and she also does handbells. So I think that forcing her to join 3 clubs, I think, was really smart. And I wish that I had forced Alexandra to do it too. So those are my 2 things for my 2 bits of advice for socially challenged folks.
I would just add into that you're going to find some colleges and universities have groups affiliated with them. So for instance, Berkeley has, I think it's called CPI, and they have kind of that wraparound service to work with them on their executive function skills that specifically pertain to college life, right? So they're there as a secondary resource outside of the resources that they have on the college campus, and they do trainings over the summer. And then
wait, it's just an outside organization that's in Berkeley, or it's part of the school?
So they're outside of the Berkeley campus, but they work with students that are students on the campus, and they work specifically with the high functioning cognitive delay kind of classification, so ADHD and autism. And then there's a similar group with Monterey, and I'm not sure which of the Monterey colleges it is, but I'd have to look at that. But they pop up at Parents Helping Parents a lot at resource fairs. So
Kristen, I would be interested in having that information. I'm going to look up something here. The University of Arizona has a specialized they have a specialized program within a program.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is it. I think the salt's there. So you might want to look at University of Arizona. They offer very good scholarships for California kids. Do you know Jenny Verdonk?
I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah, her son.
Her son is there.
Is there? He one of these people that did only reach schools. He got declined from every school he applied to. He had nothing. When all his responses came in, he had nothing. He was going to have to go to community college. So I saw the Facebook post and asked, can I step in and provide some assistance? So I let them know about all the schools with mechanical engineering, which is what he wanted, that had rolling admission. He got admitted to Arizona into their honors program, and they have had a fabulous experience down there.
Oh, that's
so
great.
Yeah, if Ken is interested in that at all, Jenny might be able to hook him up with her son.
Well, I've been volunteering with her at Martha's Kitchen, so
nice.
That's how we've met. So okay, great. Okay.
What do you think of, or have either of you heard anything about the programs within large schools such as Berkeley where you can pay extra to have smaller cohorts?
No.
I don't know anything about that. I know that you can pay extra to have, an aide go with your child to class, or an ASL signing, I guess, an interpreter.
You have to pay extra. Wow.
It depends on the school. That's something you really have to check out. If your child needs additional services, you've got to check out how much it's going to cost. Different schools charge different prices. I think it's funny that you called your child Quirky. Like, is that code?
Yeah. Kind of like saying they passed away.
Yeah. So Lois, I put in the CIP website information in the chat if you want to, or I could email it to you too.
Yeah, if you would, please, that'd be good. All right.
Thank you so much for joining in with us tonight. And I know this is going to get viewed by a lot of Willow Glen parents that were asking specifically about, oh my God, what am I going to do to make sure we're not able to tour? How am I going to be able to do this? There's virtual tours, so at least we know that, but.
I just have not found virtual tours satisfying.
Right, there's the feeling, right, on campus. And having a chance to talk to someone and vet out the finer details.
Yeah, I mean, I know somebody who had, actually, I think it was Leanna Botkin, when she was doing the East Coast tour with Julia. I think it might have been, but it might not have been. And she said they had the whole tour planned, la la la. The girl gets out of the car and says, "Not for me. I know it right now."
Oh, okay.
And if you haven't had a chance to visit, and and you say, "Yeah, on paper this looks great," it might not be.
Okay.
So do you have any tips about what to do or strategies around doing those tours?
You mean like when coronavirus is over?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Here. I can't always find this. Do you have more than one child?
No.
Well, if you end up
I can share the information if for families that have more than one child.
Right, or if your kid takes a friend with him, you can do this too. No, that's not it. It's hard to find. Ugh. Let me just see if this is it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay.
So I would say that, you know, a lot of times you'll only be able to fit in 2 tours in a day.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise it just blurs together. So, you know, you go to one, do this little form over lunch, go to the next one, do the form over dinner, and then keep them in a binder. And when it comes time to choose.
I like that. It has the food, right? And what the dorm rooms are like, because maybe, you know, maybe they're all crowded, or maybe they're not crowded, you know.
Or maybe they wouldn't even let you see them.
Okay.
That happened to us at University of Virginia. You're like, why? Why can't we see the dorms?
That's a bad sign.
We don't trust our students. Our students might be behaving badly. I was a tour guide when I was in college.
Were you? Where'd you go?
Santa Clara University.
Oh, nice.
I got
Is Ken
fired.
thinking about Santa Clara?
He hasn't looked at it yet. But we should. I mean, we could just walk over there and walk the campus. We had a football player come through on tour, and his dad was asking me, well, you know, it's a drug-free campus. I said, yes, we have the drug-free campus rating.
That's honest.
And so he said, so what does that mean? And I said, there's no campus that's drug-free, sir. You need to trust that you've raised your child right.
Whoa! And were you allowed to still be a tour guide after that?
No, I got fired. That's what honesty gets you. Yeah.
All right, so there you go. I like this a lot. I wish Alexander and Catherine had done this for every school that they went to.
Well, I like that it indicates you should do some extra things like walk around town, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's always an opportunity, depending on visits are done, to do a campus event, but then it would have you thinking in advance, maybe I should make sure I schedule time to do that.
And also eat in the cafeteria. A lot of the private schools, they'll just automatically give you a coupon to do that. Oh. Some of them you have to ask. At the public schools, a lot of times you have to pay for it. I know that when we did our San Jose State tour, we had to pay $12 a piece. And we also had to schedule a separate dorm tour.
Huh. Okay.
But I think it's worth it, eating in the cafeteria.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if I have picky eaters. Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Read the student newspaper is really important. Sit in on a class or two. That has to be arranged ahead of time, but it's really good.
Well, also just looking at the bulletin boards as you walk through the campus. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's probably a good way to meet professors too and establish relationships if you do it early enough.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, one thing I told my daughters when they went to college, I told them, here's how to be successful. Go to class every time, mm-hmm. Sit in the front, do all the work, and go see your professor in their office at least once during the semester. And Alexandra, my older one, said that she thinks that the ability to talk to your professor was the #1 skill that was lacking in the kids that were in her same grade. And she did go and see her professors every time, every class, and kept up the relationships too. And that's how she won Beckman, that $21,000 scholarship that she's going to be published in a national peer-reviewed journal. You know, the research funded by the American Heart Association. That's how I believe she won that, because 3 of her former professors were on the committee, and she had relationships with all of them. There were only 4 professors on the committee.
Wow.
That's fabulous. Great advice.
Yeah. So going and seeing the professor in the office hours is super important. And then continuing to drop by once in a while. Hey, how are you doing? I baked some cookies. You want some? My mom sent me a box of Ho-Hos.
They're not vegan.
Yeah, Alexandra's been over to professors' houses. I don't know, she was just over at a professor's house again on Sunday.
Wow.
Yesterday. But she's at her professors' houses frequently. At least 6 different professors she's been at their houses.
Wow. That's amazing.
And Logan Unger wants to go to her college.
Oh yeah. Okay. What is he going to study?
Physics.
Physics. That's right. He's trying to take the Physics 2 class that was up in the air at the high school. Okay, good.
He should do it at the community college.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Well, I really appreciate your coming in and filling in this gap of information I had.
And I'm sorry, I can't see your name here.
Jianhua.
Okay. Kristen, you can feel free to give her my contact information.
Okay.
I'll
do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll share the information about CPI, and I'll look up the one that's in Monterey too. Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's another good one to know about. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
it.
Bye-bye. Save. I'm gonna save the chat. Okay. Chat.